Right now it's 6, preparing for a busy fire season ahead.
Unless we get the moisture, it's going to be a banner year for fires.
Tonight we have 360 in-depth coverage of the tactics being tested to fight fires.
The more we do it, the better we get.
And the comprehensive plan to keep Colorado's main highway artery open through the summer.
We're going to need more resources quicker than probably what we did last year.
An ongoing police and fire investigation tonight in Castle Rock. What we're learning from police at this hour.
Plus, a Metro Youth Center is providing hope to kids who may otherwise feel forgotten.
We want to be that safe place where kids can come.
Thank you for watching Denver 7 News at 6. I'm Jacqueline Allen.
I'm Shannon Ogden. Glad you're with us tonight. Since obviously we can't predict when and where our next big wildfire will be, all we can do is make sure our state is as prepared as possible when it does happen.
And tonight we have a 360 in-depth look at the work being done to keep Coloradans safe, as well as what's being done to keep Colorado's main highway through the mountains open.
Now, we'll focus on wildfire helicopter trainings happening all along the Front Range, as well as the status of Glenwood Canyon, which, as you know, has been closed intermittently the past 2 years because of fires and then subsequent mudslides.
Our 360 in-depth reporting starts with Denver 7's PATTRIK Perez and the efforts to make sure our state has the firefighting tools necessary.
Ahead of what's forecasted to be an above-normal core fire season, teams from the Colorado Division of Fire Prevention and Control and the Colorado Army National Guard wrapped up their annual training Tuesday.
We want to make this so that they come in, they get a briefing in the morning, identify what kind of tactical missions they're going to be doing for the day, what kind of water sources they're going to be dipping from, and then working with the folks to basically simulate fighting a fire on the ground.
Vince Wellbaum with DFPC says this year's training lasted a week longer so the National Guard could have more time practicing water drops.
Having this as an opportunity to get out there and do more of it just helps everybody.
All this practice will likely come in handy later this year because of the increased likelihood of more wildfires.
The fire season is determined by the spring moisture, how much we get, and we're not getting anything. Well, we're not getting much anyway. So unless we get the moisture, it's going to be a banner year for fires.
The state will use its own aircraft first before calling in the National Guard's larger helicopters as they can carry bigger buckets. One thing to note, while firefighting aircraft can greatly help the crews on the ground, their ability to fly is all dependent on the weather. Like we saw with the Marshall Fire, if there are winds of more than 30 to 40 miles per hour, they cannot fly. In Longmont, I'm PATTRIK Perez, Denver 7.
And Colorado is planning for more wildfire fighting help to arrive in our state, but likely won't be here until the end of the year. Last year, the state legislature approved the purchase of a $24 million Firehawk. Now, that's a Black Hawk helicopter retrofitted with a 1,000-gallon water tank. Now, the company making it says they haven't even been able to start work yet because they're still waiting for the Black Hawk to be delivered to them. The state lawmakers are also working on more funding to extend a state contract to add a second large air tanker and 2 additional firefighting helicopters.
And after a wildfire happens, the impact can be felt for years. Take the Grizzly Creek fire. This one burned through Glenwood Canyon in 2020. Last summer, I-70 through the canyon was closed for weeks at a time because of mudslides and the burn scar of that fire. So what is CDOT doing to make sure Colorado's main mountain highway stays open? Denver 7's COLETTE continues our 360 in-depth reporting.
I-70 runs right through Glenwood Springs, a community built on outdoor recreation, which is the backbone of their economy. So anything CDOT can do to keep that road open and keep people coming and going is key to everyone living and working here, who of course realize that canyon can be unpredictable.
It's our open sign.
A sign of summer for Glenwood Adventure Company.
Phones are ringing, people are coming, people are traveling.
Ken Murphy is getting ready for a busy season after 2 slow years.
Glenwood is perfect because we have enough white water to get you wet but not scare anybody.
But just because his store is open, the same can't always be said for I-70.
Unfortunately, when Glenwood Canyon is closed, it sends the wrong message that Glenwood's closed for business. We're not.
Last year, a mudslide shut down the highway.
We don't have an alternative route that's efficient.
Causing a ripple effect for locals and tourists.
Mother Nature always wins. We weren't prepared for quite that amount of debris on the highways, so.
The Colorado Department of Transportation took that mudslide and learned from it, explaining during a press conference they realized there needs to be more resources in the instance of such a natural disaster, and have constructed new bathtub-like features along the road to try and help.
Slow the water down, let some of the debris settle out and hopefully stay there and not plug up our culverts, which will allow the water to run, which will allow us to get the roads open quicker.
Preparations for what they hope doesn't happen again.
Between the fires and the mudslides. I think we've all learned how to do things better.
Leaving Murphy always ready to adapt, something he's used to in this business. Colette, Bordelon, Denver 7.
CDOT tells us so far more than $20 million have been spent on the initial maintenance to reopen the highway following last year's mudslide, along with the engineering contracts, which are ongoing, so that number will keep growing. Right now, the majority of the cost has been paid for by the Federal Highway Administration.
Garfield County leaders are working on a solution to the closures of I-70 through Glenwood Canyon. Earlier this month, they gave support to a study looking at turning Cottonwood Pass into a state highway. When mudslides closed I-70 last year, locals saw that rural mountain pass as a lifeline to get around the closure. But CDOT, even Google Maps, said the road was too dangerous for a detour. Colorado Congresswoman Lauren Boebert has drafted a bill to help prevent future closures of I-70 that would require any Secretary of Transportation to study improvements necessary to offset extended I-70 closures. Our in-depth 360 coverage continues for you right now on thedenverchannel.com. There we have a comprehensive article looking at how prepared our state is for future wildfires.
One person is dead and another in the hospital after a house fire this afternoon here in Castle Rock. This investigation is tricky because it started as calls for a second alarm fire, but shortly after, police set up a crime scene. This is at a home in Dove Valley Place, just off Founders Parkway. Castle Rock police say they're working multiple investigations here, but they did not say what caused the initial fire or how the person died. We have a crew on the scene and we will bring you new information when we have it.
The Weld County District Attorney's Office has filed charges against a Weld County Sheriff's deputy for stalking and harassment. Deputy John Madel was arrested April 14th on suspicion of stalking, harassment, and domestic violence. Greeley police say this all started back in December. Madel is expected to be in court in June. Well, President Biden has granted clemency to a man convicted of trafficking drugs in the Western Slope. Now, a mugshot for 50-year-old Paul Hernandez Contreras was not released today. He was sentenced to 9 years in prison on a federal drug trafficking charges in 2019. Investigators say he drove 10 pounds of meth and half a pound of cocaine to Rifle from California. With clemency, he'll be released to home confinement in April.
Contact Denver 7 keeps hearing about a new scam that can drain your bank account fast using Zelle. This happened to an Aurora teacher, Megan McDonald, back in December. It appeared her bank, Wells Fargo, was calling, saying someone had withdrawn $3,000 from her account. They said she could transfer the money back to her account via the bank transfer platform Zelle. Well, instead, scammers got her money and the bank would not help.
And pretty much everyone just kept saying, you authorized it, so we can't do anything about it.
How did you feel when she said that?
Freaked out, mad, shocked. I assumed that since it had been so quick that she could just reverse it or stop the payment.
After Contact 7 started calling this afternoon, Wells Fargo put the $3,000 back in Megan's account. I have to report. Banks are under pressure right now because lawmakers are looking into whether stronger consumer protections are needed.
A new report out tonight finds nearly all of the homeowners impacted by the Marshall Fire were underinsured. The Colorado Division of Insurance says only 8% of the homeowners who lost their homes had full replacement insurance coverage. That equates to just 76 of the 951 homes deemed total losses based on claims. And so far, for those 951 homes, there have been just over $1 billion in claims incurred. The Division of Insurance will hold a town hall May 16th to discuss the next steps in the process for those who are underinsured. And today, work finally began to demolish what's left of the Element Hotel in Superior. That was destroyed as well in the Marshall Fire. A specialized equipment had to be brought in, including this large crane to bring down what remains were still standing.
Denver's Welton Street Cafe is ready to make its return. Starting this Thursday, the 5 Point Staple will open in a temporary location while its permanent location is still being built out. We stopped by the temporary location, found construction crews hard at work. It is at the corner of Park Avenue and California Street. Welton Street says they will only be open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for takeout only. Providing a space for kids who have experienced trauma.
There's a lot of single moms, single parent families. Some of our moms are coming out of horrible domestic violence situations.
A Denver Youth Center is giving these kids the support they may otherwise lack.
We want to be that safe place where kids can come and just really kind of let it loose and know that we're still going to support them.
We had comfortable 70s today, but there's an 80 coming up in the 70s.